Hello, my name is Jacob Jarris. This is my information speech. If I could have the audience just wave to the camera real fast. Thank you. If you ever found yourself watching live sports, you might wonder why athletes like LeBron James and Tom Brady are compensated for their play. Meanwhile, collegiate athletes get next to nothing. That's what NIL legislation comes into play. It's completely revolutionized college athletics. Today I'm going to talk to you about what NIL legislation is, a brief history of NIL legislation, and both the pros and the cons perceived behind NIL legislation. So next time you watch your favorite collegiate athletes play the game, you'll know exactly what goes behind closed doors when it comes to finances. As of recent years, debate has sparked across the country. 29 out of 50 states have voted to legalize what is known as NIL legislation. But what is NIL? What does it even stand for? To put it simply, name, image, and likeness. NIL is the idea that college athletes should be able to profit off their name, image, and likeness, whether it be commercial advertisements or social media or just selling jerseys. College athletes should get a share of what they bring into the universe. But how do we get here? I mean, this is the first time in college sports that players have had the opportunity to do this. So how did this even start? It started on September 30th, 2019. California Governor Gavin Newsom put into place a new law that allowed college athletes to profit off their name, image, and likeness. Hearing this news, the NCAA Board of Governors decided to meet in Atlanta, Georgia on October 29th, 2019, nearly a month afterwards. They decided after a long meeting that they weren't going to change anything despite this new law. College students would be entitled to scholarship and other benefits the university legally offered, but they would not be entitled to profit off their name. This stayed in place for about 2 more years until June 21st, 2020. When this issue was brought to the U.S. Supreme Court, they unanimously voted that college students had a right to be entitled to the profit they bring into the university. This shocked a lot of people. Many were thrilled, many were upset, and many were just flat out confused. But for the supporters of NIL legislation, they saw it as a major victory. Players are now able to profit off of their name, image, and likeness, which might not seem like much, but according to Forbes magazine, Florida was ranked as the 9th highest grossing university when it comes to academic revenue. As you can see here, Florida earned up to $117 million on average for athletic revenue, none of which would have been redistributed to the players had it not been for new NIL legislation in the state of Florida. Texas Tech quarterback Tyler Shell said, "It feels like we can be recognized as people, not just athletes and coaches. For the first time in college sports history, athletes are seen as a part of the business." A famous example was in 2005 when star running back Reggie Bush won the Heisman for being the best player in college football. He was celebrated and paraded around campus until allegations arose that Reggie Bush and his family had taken underground money from agents of up to $300,000. His Heisman was stripped of him, and USC athletic department had sanctions placed on him that prevented them from bowl eligibility and prevented them from giving out scholarships to specific sports. But this is no more, as new NIL legislation will give players like Reggie exactly what they deserve. While many see this as a win for college sports, there are some that believe this could mess up the integrity of both college athletics and the athletes themselves. According to the NCAA, less than 2% of Division I athletes will ever end up going pro. However, almost 86% of D1 athletes will end up graduating from college. So which one is really more useful? But with the new NIL legislation, athletes will find themselves more and more so distracted from school and focused on commercial advertisements and other industries. Former Notre Dame quarterback Brady Quinn asked an ESPN reporter, where does school even come into factor for these athletes? Many athletes would rather participate in commercial advertisements than study for the next exam. Not for everyone. All-American safety Myron Morrell at the University of Florida State chose to travel overseas to Oxford University to finish up his degree in neurosurgery. 5 years later, after a successful NFL career, he's a father of 5 and known as one of the most well-renowned neurosurgeons in the state of Massachusetts. To be honest, nobody knows what NIL is contagious. Whether you think it's good, whether you think it's bad, nobody knows what it's going to look like 5 years from now. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey said, it'll be different going forward. We're in a transformational moment in college athletics. Whether you like it or hate it, and one thing's for sure, NIL is not going in. At this time, if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask.
Are the universities allowed to pay the players directly?
Great question. So the NCAA does not allow universities to pay direct salaries to these players in the same way that you would see NBA and NFL players get paid. However, they are allowed to offer endorsement deals through companies they have good relationships. For example, the University of Florida is very close with Pepsi, Gatorade, Jordan, all of which could offer endorsement players to athletes at the University of Florida. This applies to many other universities around the country. Good question.
Can you tell me if any athletes at the University of Florida have benefited from the NIL?
Yes, so being one of the top athletic universities in the country, NIL is very prevalent at the university. Members of the basketball and football team, it seems every week a new NIL deal is going on. Every recruit that comes to the university, it almost seems like they have to have NIL deals set up in order to come. A famous example that took place just this last week, Anthony Richardson, our quarterback, signed a deal with Gator. While the details haven't been released yet, it's prominent that he will be a key part of Gator's future, and he'll definitely profit off this deal. Great question. All right, if there's no more questions, that'll be all. I'd like to thank you all for coming, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day.